Back at Zwelly's Kitchen here in Durham. Thank you to those that are watching on BigSportsNC.com. We are presented by Harlem Beer NC. It's the countdown to kickoff. We got 7 of the coaches from the state of North Carolina here in the building. It's been a great time. In the last segment, we were joined by Chowan head football coach Tim Place. My next guest, known him for many, many years, going back to his days as the head football coach at Alabama A&M. He's in his second season as the head football coach at Elizabeth City State. He is Anthony Jones, and he joins us here on the program. How are you, Coach Jones?
I'm well. How are you today, man?
Doing great. You know, it's been a couple of years since I've seen you, and I want to kind of start here. I know you had some challenges in 2018 in your first year, so kind of talk about that. And you didn't come into the position until, what, April?
It was in April. Mm-hmm. And there were some challenges. We had to basically rebuild the football team, but we had to start kind of a late date. We got there about mid-April and came out, and we lacked some essentials for a football team. Didn't have a healthy quarterback on campus. We were down in the offensive line department. We were down personnel-wise as well. I think at my first full practice or session of running, we had a total of 38 guys that showed up.
Wow.
So we had to really start from scratch to build the program back up. And it's been a journey. It's been an interesting journey, but it's been a rewarding journey because we've had an opportunity to meet a lot of people. Mm-hmm. And our guys this year have really brought into what we're defining as a championship culture, what we're trying to build. And they're coming here with the attitude of working hard and giving ourselves a chance to compete in every ball game. We competed some last year, but we couldn't do it on a consistent basis. We lack numbers, but no excuses. We're rolling up our sleeves and getting it done.
You know, you've been at a number of different places: Morehouse, South Carolina State, Alabama A&M, Arkansas Pine Bluff. What made ECSU and this job the right fit for you at this time?
Well, I'm kind of a simple guy. I go where I'm wanted. And when this opportunity presented itself, I came, and several people there expressed an interest of having me there. And so I felt wanted when I did my interview. I felt wanted when I came there, and not only from the top, our chancellor, all the way down to all our players. I just felt like I was wanted there and needed there, and so I was very thankful for this opportunity. It was a blessing for me because it got me back into doing what I want to do, and that's work with young men, give them a chance to better their lives through this amazing game of football, and teach them about life, and at the same time, I'm learning things as well. So it gave me an opportunity to get back to doing what I love doing.
Is there anything that you take away from 2018 with all of the challenges that you had, bringing it into 2019?
Oh, yeah, every season you learn. You tend to learn, or you have the ability to learn from situations. And there were a lot of things we had to learn from. It wasn't that our guys didn't play hard. It wasn't that our guys didn't prepare hard, but we were missing certain elements. And as I told them, it wasn't their fault. It was the way it worked out, and that's how life is sometimes. Sometimes, you know, you wanna be successful. You work hard for it, and you still don't get the prize. But that's not always the most important thing. The most important thing is what you put into it. And if it's meant to be, it'll come out your way. If not, keep trying. Don't quit. Just keep trying, and eventually things will go your way.
I know you didn't have a spring in essence last year. So how was spring in 2019?
Well, let me tell you what we did. We started after the season. Another thing we didn't have a winter condition. So we were able to have a recruiting class where we recruited some people. Then we went into winter conditioning, or during that process, we started winter conditioning. And we showed our guys how we wanted them to lift weights. We showed them how we wanted them to gain strength and endurance and flexibility. And we were able to put that in phase. Last year, we didn't have an opportunity to do so. So our program grew in that regard. We grew closer. We worked as coaches and student athletes. We worked together longer, and then that took us to our spring practice. Last year, the first time I got a chance to see them play was in training camp.
Wow.
So now we got a chance. We know what some of our guys can do. We have a better understanding of what they can do, but they also have a better understanding of what we expect from them, not only from the standpoint of plays, but also their level of commitment, their level of preparation. Because again, we're in the process of trying to build this championship culture. And every time you do that, it doesn't always come out as a champion. You may not come out as a champion, but you can put forth a championship effort to do so. And that's what we're in the process of doing. So we had an outstanding spring practice, but once again, we lacked some linemen, and that was a problem that we had to address this recruiting process, of course, along with a kicker. And both those areas have been addressed, but you never know how they are until they get there. So we had a great practice. Our passing game was well. We got a bunch of guys that we can throw to. We got a bunch of guys that we trust with the running game. Mm-hmm. Our defense did some great things for us, and our core special teams we worked on extremely well. So we have a game plan, if you will, that we can take into this training camp, and hopefully that will propel us to better things.
Anthony Jones is the head football coach at Elizabeth City State in his second year, joins us here on the countdown to kickoff. So let's talk personnel. Who are some of the guys offensively? Let's start there that you're expecting to step up. Who, if you had to name a quarterback today, who would that be?
I wouldn't, so I'm not. Here's the deal with that as far as I'm concerned. We got 4 quality guys coming in, and they're all going to have an opportunity to play. I'm not going to make that decision. They are. Okay. And they're going to make that decision based on their play, based on their preparation, and based on their level of getting the team to trust them. Because without that, they're not going to be a quality quarterback. So all those things are going to be very important in that development. So for me to sit here and try to put forth a guy as that guy, I'm not going to tilt the water, if you will, tint the water, if you will, to one guy. I want them to decide that, and that way they truly earned that position. So we'll see how that works out.
All right, so who are some of the guys some names we can look out for offensively?
Last year we had an absolute true freshman start, and his name was Kedrick Patterson. He's just out of high school, and he was backed up by a true freshman, and Ezekiel Best. So we had those guys, and we had a few more guys in, but those were the guys that did all the play. And so you had a freshman learning from a freshman with no film, no guidance, except for an old man like me trying to show him how to run plays and stuff. So, I couldn't do that too much because I'd be limping. So, but anyway, so that's how they had to learn the game. But now they understand. And then, and here's the other thing: a lot of guys come into this league and not expecting what they get. And this is a very, very, very competitive league. And what I mean by that is I'm talking about towards the top. Mm-hmm. You got a lot of teams that are of high quality, and they play a really good brand of football, excellent coaches throughout the conference. And if you don't come prepared, they're going to make you feel that way when you leave. So we had to take some growing pains, and they were really at the quarterback position because the guys were so young. So, we have a couple of guys that transferred in, Kevin Caldwell and DeAlbert Smith. So those are going to be our guys. We're going to get them all a chance to get in there and compete, and they'll establish the pecking order, and we'll see how that goes.
Yep. So let's transition a little bit to defense. A couple of linebackers come back for you: Sean Bridges, Lawrence Brown, defensive back. Is it Tayon Reynolds? Mm-hmm. So you'll sort of talk about them and maybe them sort of being the core of that defense.
Well, this year we have a good senior class, and those guys you just mentioned, B.J. Harrington, Greg Williams, a guy who's not a senior. Javon Rodriguez, he's not a senior, but he was a guy who garnered a lot of playing time. Wanye Majet, who's a linebacker. We got a lot of guys that can play for us, particularly on the defensive side, and who have played for us. But now what they're getting to understand is what our expectations are on the football field. They didn't get that opportunity last year. They were learning it in the heat of the battle. And so a lot of mistakes were made, but now they're getting an opportunity. They went through spring practice with us. They went through the winter conditioning with us. And a lot of these guys are really, really excited, along with our coaching staff, about our possibilities, the possibility of improving. And that's what we're going to do. We're going to keep working. We're going to keep improving. And we'll see how much and how far that improvement take us.
I think you've done this at least at times throughout the course of your career as a head coach, but you're also the offensive coordinator. So how are you able to sort of balance the two?
I have a tremendous support system at home. My wife gives me time to work a lot of long hours, and so I don't have to worry about things of that sort. And it's a challenge, but when you have limits, you have to wear more hats, and that's what we do. And so it's a lot of preparation on both sides. And at the end of the game, it feels like I played, because not only you got to manage the offensive side, you still have to manage the game. So very seldom will you get an opportunity to take breaks and things of that sort. So it's always busy, but it's something I've been doing. I've been coordinating for I sound like that guy on one of the shows, but I've been coordinating for probably about 20, 25 years. So it almost comes as second nature now, and being a head coach now, I think this is my 17th year. So, and it's always been the same. So that's what I know how to do.
Yeah. A couple of more thoughts. How excited are you, your guys, for that opening game at Hampton on August 31st?
Well, we are. We're excited. I'm going to take it another direction. We're here today, and not only are we excited, but I drove about 3 hours to get here, and I look out here in the audience, and I see a lot of our fan base here. So the excitement is there. You can see for yourself. They came out. Our people came out and represented us. And given a lot of support, and I'm expecting the same when we go up north a little bit to play Hampton, man. But it's going to be a very competitive game. They're a very good football game, and that's what we're looking to do. We're looking to make this a competitive game. This is an opportunity for a lot of our guys who thought they should have been at Division I programs to prove that. And some people like to talk about what they should have done or what they could have done and things of that sort. We'll be given an opportunity to show what we can do. And we're excited about that. But we know that they are a quality football team. They were a quality football team from last year, and we expect them to be that much more improved this year. So we're going to go up there. We're going to take our shot at them and see how this thing unfolds.
Lastly, I know you were telling me that the coaches were joking with you as being the longest tenured coach in this room. But I want to ask you, and I don't know if a lot of people know this, you played at Wichita State under the legendary Willie Jeffries, who's the only HBCU graduate to coach an FBS program to this point. So what do you remember most about those days and playing for the legendary Willie Jeffries?
Well, anybody who knows Willie Jeffries knows a couple of things are going to happen. Number one, I don't care what it is, I don't care what the situation is, you're going to laugh. But he's always going to have a serious message. And I think one of the reasons why he's lived so long, because he always laughing. He has a great heart that he shares with everybody. So everybody that knows him, very few people can say anything negative about him. I've known him for a very, very long time. The first time I had an opportunity to meet him, and I had a chance to meet him through someone that worked at my school. They knew him, and they thought the same thing about him, thought so much about him that they wanted to send me 1,200 miles away to be with him. And then once I got there, it was a wrap. I met a caring guy who cared about all the student athletes and wanted to put them in the best situation possible where they would be successful, not only on the football field, but also in life. And he is my mentor. He taught me my first real high level of college football. And then he also was the first to give me a full-time job, and he trusted me as his offensive coordinator. And I know at times I gave him headaches because he's a runner. And the old joke was you couldn't get Willie Jeffries to pass on the freeway. Well, I get there and I want to throw the ball. And he would always, in the middle of games, at some point, particularly when we were winning, he'd get up there and say, "Okay, AJ, let's just run the ball." And then when they catch back up with us, okay, you can throw it now. But but that's how he used to be. But as a coach, again, a very caring person, and he knew things about you that you had no idea he knew. I'll just give you an example. When my mother passed away, and this is outside of football, but it's just an idea of what kind of person he is. I was working for him at the time, and I go home for the funeral, and I look up, and he's there. And not only is he there, he knew enough about my mother where he could deliver a speech, and that was appropriate. And so he's that kind of guy. He'll tell you all about guys, where they're from and things of that sort. Great coach as well. And that's why he did it for so long, but that's why so many people care about him. And, my goal is to be just a fraction of what he was and what he is.
Absolutely
Great
awesome.
person.
Absolutely. Give it up for Anthony Jones, the head football coach at Elizabeth City State, joining us here on the Countdown to Kickoff. We appreciate it.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Stepping aside, taking a break. We're continuing on. Up next, Robert Massey, the head football coach at Winston-Salem State, going to join us here on the Countdown to Kickoff. We're here at Zwelly's Kitchen here in Durham.